Hello and welcome to Costa del Sol Chatter weekly news roundup. We've got lots of news this week, some really exciting events. The Casbah Live Lounge is having an 80s night tomorrow on Friday, and on Saturday, Northern Soul. Also, we have a very interesting performer coming here to the Mare Nostrum in Fuengirola, El Thigala. He's a flamenco singer, composer and musician, very eminent. You can get the tickets from the Mare Nostrum. I believe he'll be here on Saturday. I believe the tickets are between 35 and 55 euros, which if you really love flamenco, I think is a really good deal.
Alright!
And here he is, Arturo Lopez from Lopez Legal.
Hello.
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 Hello. I'm going to talk to you about an event that's coming up that you know nothing about.
Which one?
It's called Noche Viva. It's happening in Fuengirola on August 5th. It's going to be a big fiesta in the... It's going to be a big fiesta in the evening, and today the Hospitality and Tourism Board decided that the theme this year was going to be Spanish cinema. So you can go to the fiesta. It's going to be all over Fuengirola. They're going to have photo booths, entertainment, music, and you can dress up as your favourite Spanish actor or actress. So what are you going to dress up as?
I don't know. Pero it's very interesting. So it's like the Comic Sans, no?
Okay.
Yes. In America it's very popular that. They have big expositions of comics, of sci-fi cinema, and then people arrive disguised in Star Trek theme and things like that.
I mean, that's optional. I think it's more about the fiesta. There's just going to be entertainment and music. I don't think they're going as big as you're thinking it's going to be.
Well, do you remember we had to talk about that? A party can be improved in many ways, and one of them is disguises.
Yeah.
Do you remember this famous thing they do in England? How is it called? Clerks and whores or something like that. I've been in one.
He means vicars and tolls.
Eso.
Yeah, okay.
Well, all the men as vicars and all the women. Great. And that makes a party very funny. So.
Well, anyway, on August 5th, you can turn up as your favourite Spanish actor or actress. So.
Easy. Antonio Banderas, El Zorro. Yay! El Mustache.
Well, if I was as beautiful as her, I think it would be Penelope Cruz. I think I do like her. I find her quite funny.
And I go De Bardem.
See?
Who is her husband.
Yeah, we just saw a movie about that. Anyway, on to more serious matters. And one thing that obviously I've visited a lot of hospitals in the past with various medical challenges. But now, apparently, and it needs to be signed off by cabinet ministers, but we're not going to have to wear COVID masks, thank God, in hospitals, pharmacies and health centres, with the exception of those who are immunosuppressed in like an oncology environment. But it is good news because when you're in hospital and you're feeling bad, having to wear a mask on top of that is pretty awful.
Right, I must say that I had the same feeling. But after going to the hospital in the last year, some 5 or 6 times, there are so many ill people in the hospital.
Okay.
I think I'm going to continue using the mask in the hospital.
Okay, well, I'm the opposite of you, but I tend to just sit away from people, particularly if they're coughing. Anyway, if you start coughing loudly in a hospital, you're guaranteed of nobody sitting next to you. Anyway, and I'm very sorry for the families. I've just read about this. I was getting the news from Southern English, Olive Press and Euro Weekly. But this particular article was very sad about 2 men, both who were land workers, one in a vineyard, one working the land, who passed away very sadly due to the heat wave, the recent heat wave, and I find that incredibly sad, awful for the families, but that comes with some advice of make sure that you're hydrated, stay out of the sun for tourists, for our viewers, for our Costa del Sol Chatter members. And I think our tour is going to tell us a little bit about a new law that's come in anyway.
It's coming now. Unfortunately, it is already applicable.
Yeah.
It started to get into effects May the 15th or something like that. And the law has contains some obligatory measures for companies and employees who works outside, land workers, as agriculture, as technicians doing telephone things outside, brickmans, and the law contained some rules about how to prevent and even to forbid certain works at certain hours of the day. For instance, between, let's say, 2 and 5:30, the worst hours for that. And even so, you can see these things happens. But this has happened all the time. I mean, this is why exists the gazpacho. This is why people use, in the ancient times, they used to bring a botijo with them. You know, this pottery balloon to fill with water, and it remains fresh.
Well, very sad
and wearing a hat, very important.
Yeah.
Drink a lot of water and wearing a hat and avoiding the sun between 2 and 5. It's a normal basic.
So best to start work early if you are working the land. But my condolences to the families for sure. Another very interesting piece, and this I found really interesting. The National Police have code names for certain operations, and this particular operation was called codename Rambo. Apparently, and again, this comes with a caveat of advice. The police found 50 firearms in what we would call an abandoned dwelling. It hadn't been really lived in properly for 18 months, and they found a lot of firearms, balaclavas, and this was in Estepona. But I think that you really need to be careful and make sure that your neighbourhood and your neighbourhood watch is very effective if you keep an eye on your you don't have to spy on your neighbours, but what I'm saying is, are people going in and out? You know, does it look safe? Has it been inhabited? You know, what's going in and out? It's a good idea, because I mean, you wouldn't want to be living next to that.
Let me think what I'm going to say, because there are many other relevant things on that. Well, first of all, this is a tourist place, and we used to live and let live. And with some reason, because you never know who is your neighbor. Mm-hmm. And if you start an argument with your neighbor, and casually your neighbor is a drug dealer and he has the weapons, perhaps you receive a shot. So.
Well, you've got to tread carefully, I think.
First of all,
if you do, don't start arguments with your neighbour. But if you are suspicious, then you need to report it to the authorities, I believe. I think
another thinking is coming to my mind is that all this phenomenon of the empty houses, now I'm realizing is provoking something very dangerous. I mean, not only squatters are using those homes, but imagine a drug dealer or a weapons dealer.
Well, this is what happened.
Yep. He wants to store all his illegal stuff somewhere, and good idea. I'm not going to do it in my home. I'm going to do it in an abandoned house. So you do so, and now comes the things. How is possible the police arrives? They don't pick the guys, but they found all the collection of weapons.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Well, possibly because they ran 5 minutes before.
Possibly. Anyway, coming up, we've got Chatter Chuckle. Now, these are two very interesting stories that just piqued my interest. One of them, I think you can tell us about, which is about this British man who's been found not guilty of breaking and entering. Do you want to explain the story? Because
It's a bit
it
disgusting.
well, no. Okay, well, I'm going to explain it because you're going to say the wrong word. This British man desperately had the runs, which is the nice word, at 3 a.m. in Malaga, and there were no toilets available. And he saw a lady outside her house and asked her in English, could he go in and use the toilet? And he thought that she said yes. What happened was he went into the house and he had an accident and ended up having a shower in her house. And she came back to the house. She had gone out to complain to neighbours about noise and found this poor woman, I feel sorry for her, found this man showering in the house and looking for clothes. And of course she went straight to the police, who arrested him for breaking and entering. But you know, he's a man of good standing, a Mancunian, who comes here a lot and has done a lot of charity work. So they've actually let him off. What do you think about that? It's a tough one, really, because you can't just go in.
Chapeau, and my compliments to the lawyer who defended the case.
Yeah, because I mean,
Because it wasn't easy.
no.
He managed to convince the jury all the reality of these facts. I mean, he wasn't a squatter. He wasn't intending to attack or to steal at the home. He just wanted to fix his urgency. And the lawyer who managed to demonstrate that without any witness, only the word of him against the word of the owner of the apartment. Well done, good work.
Well, I do feel sorry for the poor women. So you know, but I mean, it was an interesting story, I have to say. But even more interesting, and again, another poor woman. You've got to be so careful on Facebook. I can't even tell you how many weirdos I get on my Facebook. It's incredible. Because I run Costa del Sol Chatter, and all my members are lovely, but now and again you get some really odd people. But this poor woman got scammed out of 170,000 plus euros because she believed she was dating online, obviously, because she didn't meet him, Brad Pitt, and that he was contacting her to do for them to do a film together.
Sorry, can I laugh?
I mean, these people, people that get scammed, and it's usually women, which I don't like men get scammed.
Excuse me, that is not true.
You don't think?
No.
Really? What?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you think somebody's
Since
been
the time
scammed?
of the Neanderthals and the Cro-Magnons, many women have scammed men in such a way. Whoa, 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 whoa.
No.
Give me your food, give me your tools, give me your things.
No. Angelina
Modern
Jolie.
life is buy me a ring, I want a car, put me an apartment in Saint-Tropez. How a woman can believe that Brad Pitt wants to date with you online? Huh? And how is possible the person who, because I always told that from all the criminals I met in my life, the more I respect are the scammers, because they always manage to do something that is not possible, is to convince the victim to do the things by the round.
Wow.
So whoever managed it in several steps, because not in one tack, he got, how much did you say?
170,000, and he did it via an imaginary Facebook forum for Brad Pitt. I mean, terrible, really, for everybody all round. But those two stories are quite funny.
Sorry.
So anyway, we're off as always. Arturo's going to purchase a property for me in Saint-Tropez shortly, because all women apparently that's all they want in life. So
No, not all.
we'll be
But from a
discussing-
man, they only want two things: some sex and some security and protection.
Rubbish! The modern woman is not like that at all. In fact, we've got vibrators
But
and,
what are we
we've
useful
got our
for
own
then?
jobs.
Nowadays, what are we? Is a man useful for?
I don't know. I'm starting to think about that now. I think possibly it might be better to get a dog rather than a man. They're much
Seems
nicer.
so.
Anyway.
And when you don't like, you can buy another one. That's why there are so many abandoned dogs.
Yeah, and that is actually true. There are a lot of abandoned dogs in Spain, and you're shortly going to be an abandoned dog if you don't
Okay, I
shut
saw a
up.
movie yesterday. It was called
Marley
Marley.
and me.
And there is a moment when the woman gets pregnant. She started thinking that the dog is not anymore a good idea at home, and she was intending to give it to the how you call these places where.
To the farm. They say go to the farm, but they mean that, yeah.
And then I was thinking, it's incredible. Half of the movie, we have been shown how the dog was incredibly charming. He gave support to the couple, and now a child has born, and we get rid of the dog.
But they didn't get rid of the dog. They loved the dog in the end.
Yeah, but they were thinking on.
Yeah, but life is tough, and when you've got 2 young children or 3 young children, and you have a big dog that's running all over the place, life isn't too easy. And I don't think sometimes men appreciate actually how hard it is to actually have children and work and look after animals.
And what the man did.
We're not all the sort of women that want to just run off and be bought a ring and a villa in Saint-Tropez. So I leave you with that thought, viewers.
I wasn't talking about all the women. I'm just saying that these kind of scams used to happen more in the other side.
Yes, but I think, in fact, the modern woman.
Do you remember the get a Russian wife? Remember 20 years ago?
Yes, but men know what they're getting into when they do that. I mean, come on, they're not idiots. A rich man.
Eso, man knows that they are going to be scammed, so they don't report the police when they are scammed finally.
So therefore, it's not a scam. They know what they know what they're buying. Yeah?
Yes, we like to be scammed, of course.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna say
Brad
goodbye.
Pitt, huh? Brad Pitt. It was Brad Pitt, and he believed it.
Anyway, I've had enough of bickering. It's Thursday. I really hope that all the viewers and members have a wonderful weekend on Costa del Sol. Do stay hydrated and keep out of the sun. Plenty of sunscreen. Have a lovely weekend. Thank
Goodbye.
you from the two of us.
And now I go because they're going to kill me.
No, I'm going to kill you.